नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
Hare
हरे
Ram.
राम हरे राम. Is anyone would like to share what we discussed in our last session?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So, Prabhuji, during the last session, we discussed that Krishna is telling that the end purpose of Ashtang Yoga is Samadhi.
Mhm.
And any such person who has reached this Samadhi stage, his
Mhm.
mind is completely absorbed in Krishna. So, whatever
Correct.
work such person is performing is is not at the material platform. It is not the results also of such work will not be at the material platform or will not bind him to the material world. All his actions are very pure, and this is basically yoga. And we also discuss that initially a person can start with bhakti yoga, and in that, because sometimes it is not possible to get our mind free from desires,
Mhm.
so one thing what we can do is to divert our desires towards Krishna. So
Mhm.
this is bhakti yoga. This is what we discussed.
Okay. Is anyone would like to share add anything?
We also saw that the mind of such a person, such a yogi, is like a candle in a windless place
Correct. Correct.
without any wavering.
Yes. So a person who is situated in complete transcendence or in samadhi, just like a lamp is placed in a windless place, so that flame to ignite is very steady flame is there, right? Same way, a person who is situated in the trance is very steady, always absorbed in thought of that absolute truth, Krishna. So he is not disturbed. He is always steady in his consciousness. And the thing is, when a person, if we see how in Krishna consciousness, a person, whatever work he is performing, whatever activities he is doing those activities in relationship with Krishna, centered around Krishna. So everything is just revolving around Krishna. So he's always completely absorbed in thinking of Krishna only. Just like a temple has to be constructed. So he's thinking how this temple for Krishna can be constructed. So he's figuring out ways and means to construct the temple. Suppose somebody is doing cooking for Lord. So he is thinking, oh, what I should prepare for the Lord. It has to be prepared like that. Or tomorrow I have to offer this thing for Lord. Oh, this item I offered 2 days back only. So let me prepare something else so that Krishna is getting variety of foodstuffs are offered to Krishna. So like that, when we are engaging ourselves in the service or engaging our senses in the service of Krishna, so it is as good as we are situated in samadhi. So Krishna was also mentioning about sense gratification. One should be free from material sense gratification. So we'll start with verse number 20th today. So all of you, I'll Like all of you can chant this 20th shloka, rest all I'll chant. Yatra param mate chittam
Yes,
यत्र
param te
nirudham yoga sevaya
निरुद्धं योगसंविदा
yatra chaivatmana atmanam
यत्र चैतन्यम्
pashyan atmani tushyati.
पश्यति आत्मनि तुष्यति.
Yes, anyone can chant this shloka.
शत्रु परमते चित्तं निरुद्धं जगसेवया यत्र चैव आत्मानं पश्यन् आत्मनि तुष्यति.
Yes, wonderful. Anyone else?
यत्रो परं मते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया यत्र चैवात्मानं पश्यन्नात्मनि तुष्यति.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Alright, I'll read further verses. Sukam atyantikam yat tad buddhi graya matendriya vetti yatra nachai vayam stitas chalati tatvataha yam latva cha param latvam manyate nadikam tataha yasmin stito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate tam vidyad dukha samyoga yoga samignita yagnitam. Translation: the stage of perfection is called samadhi or trance. When one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga, this is characterized by one's ability to see the self by pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness and enjoys himself through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth. Upon gaining he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, he is never shaken, even in the midst of great difficulty. This is indeed actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. So, actually today my eyes are little paining. So, can anyone read the purport?
Yes. By practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from material concepts. This is the primary characteristics of the yoga principle. And other this, one becomes situated in trance or samadhi, which means that the yogi realizes the super soul through transcendental mind and intelligence without any of the misgivings of identifying the self with the super self. Yoga practice is more or less based on the principles of the Patanjali system. Some unauthorized commentators try to identify the individual soul with the super soul, and the Manisists think this is to be liberation, but they do not understand the real purpose of the Patanjali system of yoga. There is an acceptance of transcendental pleasure in the Patanjali system, but the Manisists do not accept this transcendental pleasure out of fear of jeopardizing the theory of oneness. The duality of knowledge and knower is not accepted by the non-dualist, but in this knowledge, knower is not accepted by the non. But in this ours, transcendental pleasure realized through transcendental senses is accepted, and this is followed by the Patanjali Muni, the famous exponent of the yoga system. The great sage declares in his Yoga Sutra, Purusha, Purusharastha Nam Gunanam Pati Prati Sabha Patipalyam Abhibhavakam Sarvarupa Pratishtava Jiti Smriti Smriti. The city
Yes. Yes. We'll understand this first. I'll just read out this because it is interconnected. This Chitta Shakti or internal potency is transcendental. Purushartha means material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and at the end, the attempt to become one with the Supreme. The oneness with the Supreme is called Kaivalyam by the monists. But according to Patanjali, this Kaivalyam is an internal or transcendental potency by which living entity becomes aware of his constitutional position. In these words of Lord Chaitanya, this state of affairs is called Chetodarpan Marjanam. By clearance of impure mirror of the mind, this clearance is actually liberation of Bhava Mahagrahi Nirvapanam. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. The theory of Nirvana also preliminary corresponds with this principle in the Bhagavatam. This is called Swarupena Vyavastitha. The Bhagavad Gita also confirms this situation in this verse. After nirvana or material cessation, there is a manifestation of spiritual activities or devotional service of the Lord known as Krishna consciousness. In the words of Bhagavatam, Swarupena Vyavastita, this is real life of living entity. Maya or illusion is the condition of spiritual life contaminated by material infection. Liberation from material infection does not mean destruction of the original eternal position of the living entity. Patanjali also accepts this by his words Kaivalyam Sarupe Pratishtha va Chitta Shaktir iti. This Chitta Shakti or transcendental pleasure is real life. This is confirmed in Vedanta Sutra as Anandmayo Bhyasat. This transcendental pleasure is ultimate goal of yoga and easily achieved by execution of devotional service or bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga will be vividly described in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So we'll understand here. Here Krishna is telling perfection of yoga is what? To attain samadhi. Now after attaining samadhi, what exactly happens? What one experience or realizes? That is what Krishna is sharing in this particular verse. So Krishna is telling one attains samadhi how? When one mind activities, mental activities are completely come to cessation, has come to end. When our material mental activities has come to end, that is the stage one can reach or attain samadhi. Suppose samadhi means what? In simplified words, if we try to understand samadhi means one who is situated on a spiritual platform. He has no relationship with material platform, even though he is present in this material world. He is still situated on a spiritual platform. Everything, whatever he is seeing, realizing whatsoever it may be, everything he is seeing on the spiritual platform. He is seeing, suppose he is seeing the nature, plants, animals, he is seeing those things as the creation of Krishna himself. All these belongs to Krishna and part and parcel of Krishna. Like that he is seeing. So that is actually samadhi is. He is situated on a spiritual platform completely. Now, after and how it is possible? It is possible when he has no relationship with his material mental activities. So this material activities or material desires, how these material desires or activities are generated? It is generated by our mind. It is generated by our mind. How? When we come in contact, when the jiva or the atma or the spirit soul come in contact with this material existence, what happens? Our soul or we acquire subtle body which is comprised of three elements: mind, intelligence and false ego. Manas, buddhi, ahankara. This is known as subtle body, sukshma sharira. And we get gross body which is made of five elements: earth, water, air, fire, ether. So when we interact with matter, we develop material desires. Just like earlier also I have given this example, like how you go to some supermart, some shopping complex, some mall, you visit such places, so hundred of products are kept there. So many products are kept there. You went to purchase one toothbrush, but when you went to search for toothbrush, you went through some 10, 50, 20 products. Seeing those products, you thought, oh, I need this also, I need that also. Oh, the product or the item which I am using at home, it has become very old, so better let me purchase new one, right? So seeing those things, interacting with other products, you also got desire to purchase or to have those products. Same way, when we come into this material existence, by the interaction of this material energy, we develop material desires. By default, we develop material desires. So one who has completely have a control or has seized or minimized to zero this material desire, he can see his real self, he can experience the true self, he can see the things as they are. He is situated on a spiritual platform, right? So this is what Krishna is mentioning here in the next line. This is characterized by one's ability to see the self by pure mind and to relish and rejoice in this self. So how it can be possible? By pure mind. If mind is contaminated, it is not possible. No. If mind is filled with material activities, material sense gratification, desires, this and that, it is not possible to reach that stage. So mind has to be pure. And once mind is pure, a person enjoys in the self. He comes to the stage of Atma Rama. Atma Rama means pleasure. Atma means taking pleasure in the self. His pleasure is independent of external things. His pleasure is completely dependent upon his own self. And in that joyous state, one is situated in transcendental, boundless transcendental happiness, enjoys himself through transcendental senses. So when one is in that samadhi means he is situated on that spiritual platform. So what is happening? He is having senses which are purified now. Senses are there, but these senses are purified. How? Just like in previous verses, we saw the example of Amrish Maharaj. He engaged the senses in Krishna's service. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. This senses has to be engaged in the service of Rishikesha, who is master of the senses. Krishna is also known as Rishikesha. He is the master of the senses. So these senses, when engaged in the master of the senses, Krishna, that is bhakti, that is bhakti. Actually, that is devotion. So when that happens, one experiences transcendental happiness, which is limitless. There is no bound to it. There is no boundaries. So if we see by nature, so soul tendency is to enjoy. Every one of us, if we see or reflect or analyze, each one of us want to be happy. We want to be at peace. And Krishna says, without peace, there is no happiness. So first is, we want peace. So if we want peace, exactly what we are looking for? We are looking for happiness. We are looking for happiness. That is the nature of this living entity, nature of the spirit soul. Anand meo vyasat. We are always looking after pleasure or happiness. That is what living entities by default nature is. So, if we see dead matter cannot experience happiness, distress, only living entity can experience this happiness and distress. More evolved the consciousness is, more finer ability or senses are there to distinguish between happiness and distress. Example, just like tree is there. Tree is not having that much evolved intelligence or consciousness as we are having, right? Or animals for that matter. Tree's consciousness is not that evolved. So tree, suppose very scorching sunlight is there, heat is there, still tree is standing. Wind is there, still tree is like that, snowfall is there, still tree is enjoying. For tree, it's an enjoyment. Whether wind is there, sunlight is there, whatsoever it is there, it's enjoyment only. Hog is there, pig takes pleasure in eating stool. You may give him some nice delicacies or some cake or something this or that, but hog will not take pleasure in eating those things. Hog will take pleasure in eating stool. Most abominable thing to eat. Right? So, because their consciousness or their intelligence is not as evolved as our consciousness and intelligence is. So, more finer consciousness one develops, the finer his taste of enjoyment is also develops. Finer taste of enjoyment also will develop. Or his sensitivity towards happiness and distress will develop. The more he is evolved, the more he is spiritually advanced, or the more he is intelligent. Right? So, just like we see, one characteristics of a Vaishnava is para dukkha dukhi. Seeing others in pain, Vaishnavas, they also get in pain. Nowadays, if we see world around us, they are para dukkha sukhi. Seeing others in dukkha, they take pleasure. This is how this, world is. Very hypocritic world. Seeing other in distress, people they feel happy out of enviousness. Whereas a devotee, seeing others in pain, they feel the pain. They feel the pain. So that's how they develop finer intelligence. They take pleasure in the self, pleasure which is related to Krishna. It has no relationship with material objects. Like that, they start developing their sense of pleasure in the self or in Krishna. Because that is the sign of advancement. Many people, they say we are practicing bhakti, we are doing this, we are doing that, so many things we are doing, going Vrindavan, going for darshan here, there, everywhere, hearing Bhagavatam Saptah also. But there is no change in consciousness. There is no change in consciousness. Consciousness remains as it is. But when they start practicing bhakti, real bhakti, devotion, so what comes? Vairagya comes. Vairagya means detachment for the material sense pleasure develops. Detachment from the material sense pleasure develops. Their pleasure is no more depend upon the senses, their pleasure in the self. They take pleasure which pleases Krishna. In this relation, there is a very nice, wonderful story. There was one person, he was a merchant having a cloth business. So he was, very money-minded person. Always money, money, money. Thinking of money only. He was having kids. Those kids are grown up. They took charge of business. But still, this person's mind is running after money only. To earn more and more money. So one day, one bhikshuk, a person, they travel from one place to another. So that bhikshuk came to their shop, and that day his son was taking care of that particular outlet and shop. So this asked him, like this, I am going for yatra, for pilgrimage to different holy places. I need, some money. Can you give me some money? So this person, he thought, my father, he always thinks of money, money, money. So let me send him to this holy places, to pilgrimage, so that his mind get distracted, and he now, because he has become old, he should start thinking of such a religious thing rather than thinking of money. He should start thinking, taking interest in God rather than thinking of money. So he requested this particular person who visited, okay, I'll give you money, but on one request, you have to take my father along with you and take care of him. And he is very money-minded person. So I want you to change him. So I want you to tell me whether he has changed or not. Like that, he instructed this person. So this person took the money and along with his father, he is going. They visited various places all across the, India, various holy places they visited. So at the end, they came to Kashi, Varanasi. So when they came there, so there is a Manikarnika Ghat where people, that final rites happen, cremation of the body happens, the funeral ceremony happens. So seeing this, so far they visited various places, but there was no change in this person at all. There was no change. But seeing this bhikshuk or this beggar who was also traveling, he could sense some kind of change in him. He could sense some kind of change in him. This person is little perplexed. So he could not resist and he asked, what has happened? You are looking quite, restless, perplexed. What is that going on in your mind? So this person who was very, money-minded, he said, I have wasted my life. I have wasted my life. He said, how? He said, entire life I was doing business of this clothes and all those things. But see, business of this wood is far, far profitable than business of this clothes. I should have done this business of wood rather than, because to burn the body, 2-3 quintals, 200-300 kg of wood is required. So he was thinking that I should have done business of wood. So like this, if we see, until and unless we get bhakti, whatsoever we may do will not bring any change in us, cannot transform our heart, and therefore we cannot experience the transcendental, that happiness which is coming from the self. To experience that transcendental happiness, it is very, very important for a person to practice bhakti, and that is possible in the association of devotees. Because in the association of devotees, a person develops a taste for hearing about Krishna and rendering service unto Krishna, which is very, very important. Important aspect of bhakti is what? Shravanam and Kirtanam. Shravanam means hearing. Our bhakti starts with hearing, and Kirtanam and chanting the holy name of the Lord. That's how we can start bhakti in association of devotees. How? When with a little faith, we hear about Krishna. Adho Shraddha. Adho Shraddha means little faith. Adho Shraddha tatha sadhu sangha. In association of devotees, we hear about Krishna. Adho Shraddha tatha sadhu sangha bhajana kriya, and engage in Krishna's service by chanting the holy name, by rendering various practical devotional services. Adho Shraddha tata sadhu sangha bhajana kriya anartha nivriti. Our all the anarthas which are there in our heart will be cleaned. Anartha nivriti will be removed. When those anarthas are removed, one can develop a nishtha, firm faith in Krishna. Firm faith in Krishna can be gained. Just like if we see in today's world, we have a lot of anxiety. Why this anxiety is there? Because we have a tendency to accumulate more and more. Whether it may be some resources, some gadgets, or some clothes are there. Because in general, if we see, people, because of economic boom, IT, this thing and all, people are earning well and they can afford all these things. So what happens? By default, they start accumulating more and more. Suppose earlier they were wearing only one pair of shoes or managing with 2 pair or 3 pair of shoes. Now 5 pair of shoes are there. So what is happening? Now to maintain those 5 pair of shoes, there is some kind of anxiety is involved. Same goes with the clothes, same goes with car, same goes with the house, same goes with the relationships, same goes with the kitchen, this, that, everything. Small, every area it reflects. And at the end, what happens? We end up with losing our peace of mind. We get anxious. So Vaishnava philosophy is what? Is to have minimalistic living, to have minimum, as much as required, that much one should manage and live. So where we were like trees, we were discussing about trees. So trees, they are having very low consciousness. They cannot feel such happiness or distress. They cannot experience much. For them, everything is almost same. The more finer the consciousness or intelligence is, finer is the taste of happiness person develops. And that is, Krishna is mentioning here, Sukham Atyantikam. What is the meaning here? Happiness, supreme happiness. Atyantikam means supreme happiness one attains. How? By situating in self. By situating in self. Atmani, in the self, one becomes satisfied. Is not, looking after satisfaction outwardly. Is satisfied within himself. Because he is always absorbed in thinking of Krishna. And that is what is yogi is. Ramante yogino anante. Ramante means yogi is the one who takes pleasure in the self. Ante means endless pleasure he takes. He takes the endless pleasure. He is not taking pleasure which is, some fixed in quantity. Endless pleasure. Independent of external things. He is self-satisfied. And this is what Krishna also mentions in the end last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Kanshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mat Bhakti Labate Param. Brahma Bhuta, a person who is situated. Brahma Bhuta stage means what? Again is the stage of Samadhi. One who is situated in the stage of, or in the state of transcendence, where he is completely absorbed in Krishna, thinking of Krishna. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Kanshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madal Bhakti Labate Param. He is always Prasanna. Prasanna means he is always joyful, he is always happy. Na Sochati Na Kanshati. Sochati and Kanshati means what? Is hankering, is desiring. We want more and more. We hanker after a lot of things. I want this, I want that, I want this, I got this, now I want that. So we are hankering after various things. So he is not hankering. Just like Sudama, he was self-satisfied. Pandavas, kingdom is not there. They lost the kingdom, but still they are satisfied. They are not hankering. Na sochati na kanchati. Now what happens? The thing which is not there with us, we hanker after that. And the thing which is there with us, suppose if we lose that, we lament. If we don't get, then also we lament. If we lose that, then also we lament. So we do sochati and kanchati. We are lamenting and we are hankering. So a person who is situated in the transcendence, who is situated in that Brahma Bhuta stage, where he is completely absorbed in thinking of Krishna, serving Krishna, he is not aspiring or hankering after these material objects. He is always joyful, he is always happy, and this is what we see the living entity is looking after in this human form of life. Or for that matter, in any form of life, if you see, just like hog, we took the example of hog. How hog is taking a pleasure? He is taking pleasure by eating stool. He is running after stool. Where is stool? Where is stool? You will find hogs in drain only. Not in some, nice clean place is there. No, you will find hogs in drain. Where drainage is there you will find the hogs. Because they take pleasure in that. So living entity by default nature is Anandmayo Bhyasat. So that can be possible only by situating in the self or in the samadhi. Now, this Atyantikam Sukham we understood. Established thus, one never departs from the truth. Upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. After understanding this, he never fall down, or he never rejects the truth. He understood the truth. And after understanding, he thinks this is the best thing I have got in my life. Not, 1 crore rupees or this or that. He thinks this is the best thing I have got in my life. And what is that? Realizing our own self, who we are part and parcel of Krishna. What is our duty being part and parcel of Krishna is to serve Krishna. So understanding this thing, he takes pleasure in the self. Now, just like, in this connection, there was a very nice pastime. There was one ardent devotee or follower of Lord Shiva. He was a farmer. So he, used to pray Lord Shiva that I want to be I want to get the best of the best thing. Like that he was praying, I want the most valuable thing, best of the best thing. So like that he used to pray. So one day Lord Shiva, he appeared and he guided, okay, you do one thing like this, you go to Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan so and so devotee is there, his name is Sanatan Goswami, and tell him that you want best of the best thing or the most valuable thing, he will give you. He said okay. So he informed his wife and said, I am going to Vrindavan. The wife was also surprised. Nevertheless, he went to Vrindavan, met the Sanatan Goswami and asked, I need the most valuable thing. So he said, Sanatan Goswami said, that one corner there was a pile of garbage, leaf and all those things. So he said, in that pile you go and you will get one stone. So he went and he searched for that and he got one stone. So Sanatan Goswami said, this stone is not an ordinary stone. This stone is touchstone or Chintamani. Touchstone is what? You touch that stone with any metal object, it will convert into gold. So he was very happy. I've got the most valuable thing, this touchstone. And he returned back to his home, telling his wife, narrating the entire incident that took place, and telling like this, I got the touchstone. So wife was telling, wait a minute, what you said? He placed or kept this touchstone in the garbage, in the pile of, that leaves garbage. It means he has cheated you. He has not given you the most valuable thing. He has cheated you. So you do one thing, you go again and ask him. Because no one keeps the, valuable thing in the garbage. So you go and ask again. So he went back again and asked, I want the most valuable thing. If this would have been the most valuable thing, you would not have kept in the garbage. So he said, okay, do one thing, you go and throw this in Yamuna and come back, I will give you the most valuable thing. So he returned back after throwing that stone into the Yamuna, and then he introduced this person about the chanting of the holy name, chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Introduced that chanting to him, and after chanting, he could understand because he was experiencing the joy, the happiness, the sense of satisfaction he was able to experience. So he got it that yes, this is the most valuable thing I can get in the life. Right? So that is there is no greater gain than getting the shelter of Krishna, getting the association of his devotees, getting opportunity to chant his holy name. That is, there is no more greater, there is no greater gain than this. And after situating in such position, he is never shaken. Just like here, Krishna is mentioning, one never departs. He is never shaken. He is situated in that fixed form. Just like previous verse, he used an example of lamp. How lamp is placed in unwindy place. His flame is not wavering. Same way, he is also not shaken. Even in the midst of great difficulty, even there are a lot of difficulties are there, but still he is not disturbed. He is not disturbed. So if we see the whole process of this yoga is what? Samadhi is what? To meditate or to concentrate, to absorb in the transcendental form of Krishna. By doing that, what happens? We experience pleasure in the self. Until and unless there is no pleasure in it, until and unless there is no pleasure in it, we don't like to do the activity, right? But these yogi, they take pleasure in the self. They leave aside everything. Why? Because they are experiencing that pleasure. They are experiencing that happiness in the self. Many times, people ask us, why in such a young age we are going and becoming devotee, leaving aside everything. There is lot of things are there to enjoy in the life. We leave aside everything and go to the do all these things. But the thing is, in serving Krishna, the experience of pleasure you cannot get anywhere else in the entire material existence. There is a saying that what is the gain if you gain the entire world but lose your own self? What is the gain is gaining the entire world but losing your own self. There is no gain. Same way, even though we may get the entire material world, if that pleasure or that happiness or that satisfaction is not there in the heart, you will not be happy. And that happiness is possible only in association with Krishna when we are serving Krishna. Just like fish is there, Prabhupada gives an example of fish. Fish is placed in the pot of water or aquarium. You give all the nice thing, you prepare, like aquarium people, they do design or decorate with various things. You give best of the best thing, silver, gold, diamond, like that you have decorated the entire aquarium, but you have not filled the water. Fish is there. This gold, silver, diamond is of no use if water is not there. Same way in our life, if Krishna is not there, whatsoever activity we are doing, whether it may be our job, handling, managing the family, this or that, nothing will give satisfaction, nothing will help us to be happy, to experience that this aikantikam sukham is very important, is possible when we bring Krishna as the center of our all the activities. So here Prabhupada explains in this about Patanjali Yoga system. So the thing is, Samadhi Prabhupada explained. Now after Samadhi, what happens? One absorbed in that supreme, or one absorbed in the super soul or that absorbs himself in thinking of Krishna. So many school of thoughts, they misunderstand it as a merging of soul to the super soul. Merging of soul to the super soul and losing the existence of the self. Losing the existence of the self. So here Prabhupada is mentioning how even in the Patanjali yoga system, this is not encouraged. And that philosophy is known as monist philosophy. Monist means they lose the existence of the self and they think that everything will merge into Brahman or in the super soul. Whereas Krishna defeats this argument or this logic in the second chapter in itself, in the 12th verse. How? By saying that there was no time in the past, present, or future where you were not existing, I was not existing. We were existing and we will be existing. Like it's not like you are going to be, you will lose your existence in the future. It's not going to happen. Your existence, your individuality will remain in the future also, in the past also, and in the present also. It will remain. At any point, it will not lose the individuality. So here, in the Yoga Sutra, the thing is Purushartha. What is Purushartha? Purushartha means the four things are there for a person to attain perfection in human form of life. This comes under Karma Kanda. As per Karma Kanda or fruitive activity, there are four steps which can help a person to advance. What is that? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. You follow the Dharma. With that Dharma, you accumulate money. For what purpose? To enjoy. And at the end, what will happen? You will attain Moksha. You will attain union, oneness with the Supreme. Whereas Krishna or Bhagavatam, which is known as Amal Purana, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they says that one can merge into Brahman by following Purushartha. But one cannot experience unlimited happiness or joy until and unless he develops love or devotion for that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And that is possible by Cheto Darpan Marjanam, by cleansing our heart, by cleansing our heart. How? By chanting the holy name of the Lord. Only it is possible to cleanse our heart. So at the end, Krishna, he was explaining about Grunapi Vichalyate. This very important thing is one will not get disturbed even in the midst of difficulties. One will not get disturbed. How? Just like suppose, for an example, Prabhupada gives very nice example in this connection. Same example I am going to use. Suppose you are going to meet your beloved, especially in teenage or when people have boyfriend, girlfriend, they go from long distance relationship is there. So they take all inconveniences just to travel and meet their beloved. So all while traveling, lot of inconveniences there. Suppose they are going in train, lot of inconvenience they feel, experience. So what they do, even in the midst of all these inconvenience, difficulties or distress, they don't get influenced. they don't get disturbed. Why? Because the purpose of meeting their beloved, the purpose or that thing gives more strength than this distress. That gives more joy, fills their heart with joy, with a hope, with a pleasure than this distress. This distress doesn't influence me. The same way, when we think that even though in this material world lot of challenges, difficulties will be there, but if we are absorbed completely in the thought of Krishna, in serving Him, and we know that by doing so I am going to go back to Godhead. So even though all these disturbances are there, difficulties are there, will not get influenced. Will not get influenced. So that is what is very important. So here further Prabhupada is explaining about there are two types of, this is what is happening, the thing that we were discussing. As long as material body exists, one has to meet the demands of the body, namely eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But a person who is in pure bhakti or in Krishna consciousness does not arouse the senses while meeting the demands of the body. Rather, he accepts the bare necessities of life, making the best use of bad bargain, enjoys transcendental happiness, Krishna consciousness. In the material life, he uses the best use of the bad bargain. Whatever is there, he utilizes and serves the Krishna, and by that, he is gaining that transcendental happiness. He is careless towards the incidental occurrence such as accidents, disease, scarcity, and even death of the most dear relative. But he is always alert to execute his duties in Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga. Always he is thinking how I can serve Krishna in spite of all these challenges, even something happened, accident, this, that. His main objective is, or main duty is, developing relationship with Krishna or serving Krishna. In this connection, there was one Acharya in the Parampara, Srivas Acharya. In Mayapur, there is a Srivas Angan, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, they were performing Sankirtan. Nice Sankirtan was going on. So this Srivas Acharya, at his place that Sankirtan was going on, Srivas Angan is a place. So what happened? His son passed away. His son died. So as soon as he came to know about the disappearance of his son, that his son has died, so he was not disturbed. He thought, let me not, spread this news outside to the people. Otherwise, this Sankirtana will get disturbed. This Sankirtana will get disturbed. So let me not do this thing. So what he did, he just let the Sankirtan go. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is performing Sankirtan, so let it go. But some kind of anxiety was there on his face. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could sense it, because he is Krishna himself, situated in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. He could sense out that he is not feeling well. There is something which is disturbing him. So he asked him, Srivas, what is that disturbing you? So Srivas told about the incident. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, seeing his sincerity, his dedication towards the service of the Lord, that how he don't want to get, affect the service of the Lord, he revived, brought back his son back to life. And his son, as soon as he wake up, he started speaking that, my father, every birth and life, somebody else's father, this life someone else's father, like that I'm, life after life taking birth, like that he started speaking. So Srivasa, he could understand, and he let his son go. So like that, devotees under any situation or circumstances, they don't influence the service of the Lord. Accident never deviate him from duties, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. This comes in second chapter. Agama painu nityastam tutikshva bharata. He endures all incidental occurrence because he knows that they come and go does not affect his duty. In this way, he achieves the highest perfection in the yoga. These things will come and go. Happiness, distress is there, happiness is there. All these things are temporary. They will come and they will go. Nothing is permanent in this world. Understanding this point, he doesn't influence the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He serves with the same sincerity. He serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He doesn't get influence. And that is what is the advanced stage of bhakti or yoga Rudha stage that we heard. Okay, so with this, we'll close here. Anyone has any questions or anything to share or ask? Any questions? Okay. So the thing is, few things that Krishna mentioned in the verses. One who is situated in the samadhi, his mind is completely pure, free from all material activities, and by that, what happens? He experiences transcendental happiness, which comes out of transcendental senses. He can, in that joyful state, he is taking joy in the self only, and he is never shaken. Runapi vichalyate. Even in the greatest of miseries, he is not shaken. And he thinks this is the best thing and this is the most valuable thing he has achieved in his life. So, like that, a yogi who is situated in this trance experiences all these things. So, we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki,
Jai.
Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.